Hi, and welcome to another episode of I Don't Have the Answers, but let's talk about it anyway. I'm your host, Tim, the Answer Man 4. And before we begin this week's show, I want to take a moment to point out a few things that'll be important to note as we take this journey. First, I'm not a social science expert. I have no mental health credentials whatsoever. I'm not a counselor, not a social worker. I'm just a guy that's got an opinion, a microphone, and a camera. And obviously, no fear to share his opinions with the rest of the world. So, when you're listening or watching, I want you to do me a favor. Take everything that I say with a boulder-sized grain of salt. Because all it is what I see and my opinion of what's going on around me. With that being said, let's dive into this week's show. This week I'd like to spend some time talking about something that I believe we could use a whole lot more of. That, my friends, is tact. According to our good friends at Merriam-Webster, the definition of the word tact is a keen sense of what to do or say in order to maintain good relations with others or to avoid offense. When searching online, you'd find that an example of tact is when you gently or politely correct someone's error without embarrassing or angering the person or drawing attention to the error. Personally, I like the way that a former instructor of mine said it when I was in high school. He said, "Tact is the ability to tell someone to go to hell and have them look forward to the trip." That was 27 years ago. It stuck with me all this time. Why, you might ask, am I bringing this up now? I have to say it's because I see a lack of its existence when I look around. I read comments that people make about other people with no regard to how it may sound. I hear people correcting each other without discretion even being considered. Why? In business and professional communication, tact can be the most important asset that you can exhibit. Knowing your subject matter is important, but being able to communicate it effectively without alienating your audience is necessary. By now, you're probably sitting there trying to come up with an example to put it into perspective. That's good. That means you're relating to what I'm talking about. Hopefully, you're trying to figure out if you are being tactful when you communicate. So I thought I'd bring together a few tips that I found when I was doing research for this week's episode. Number 1, think before you speak. That goes for written communication, verbal communication, hand and arm signals, sign language, any kind of communication. Think before you speak. Now, the immediate gut reaction is going to be excessively passionate in some situations. And you're not going to get the point that you want made across. It's going to come out and you're possibly going to offend someone, which may not be the end intention. May not be what you wanted to say. So I want you to think before you speak. Number 2, timing is everything. Make sure that your audience is in the right frame of mind for the information you're about to deliver. You may not want to excitedly inform your best friend that you just got a promotion in the same conversation that they told you that they got fired. Timing is everything. Another one, body language. It's so important. Body language is key. Your body and the message that you're trying to deliver need to match. Sitting back with your arms folded like this and trying to say, "You're doing a pretty good job," doesn't match. Something as little as folding your arms, crossing your legs, shaking your head the wrong direction when you're trying to speak. If you're saying something in the affirmative but your head's going like this, That's a visual cue that what you're saying and what you're feeling don't match. Deflect negativity. If you're ever in a conversation or communicating with someone about something and a negative aspect is brought up as a counter to your conversation, do not engage with it, but counter it deflectively. You want to make sure that you don't appear combative, because that will derail everything that you've just tried to do. All the other 3 steps that you just tried to put into the conversation are going to be devoid of any kind of meaning if you engage in combat. And that's basically what it is, verbal combat. So, for instance, if someone brings up something about a coworker in the middle of your discussion and starts talking negatively about them, a good response would be, I've never met them, so I wouldn't know. And then return to the subject matter that you're trying to talk about. You don't want to go down a rabbit hole that you can't escape from. In my opinion, politeness and tact are things that used to be a part of the foundation of society. That's the reason why we used to call it polite society. For some reason, we've adopted brutal honesty as our new cornerstone. And we've stepped away from being tactful. Instead, we stand behind a mantra of, but I was telling the truth, or I was only being honest, and we think that that justifies our actions. We think that that makes everything right. And to be honest, it doesn't. It doesn't excuse bad behavior. Decorum has a place. Tact has a place. And we need to get it back in place. Until then, we're hurting ourselves and our reputation by engaging in these tactics of brutal honesty. So I urge you all to start working on ways to improve your tactfulness and your politeness when you're communicating with not just friends and coworkers, but with strangers and people you've never met before, because social media is just that. People you've never met before, but they are taking what you say and it is affecting their lives. You might not think of it that way, but everything you say or do has some kind of effect on someone. It might not have the intended effect on the intended recipient, but think about it this way. If you're posting something on a friend of yours social media page and you're directing it at them, and it's a very pointed stick that you're sharpened and stabbing them with, it might just accidentally, through friendly fire, so to speak, hit another person. Somebody else that's reading that same message because it's public. And all of a sudden they're offended. But they were on the edge to begin with. They were tap dancing that fine line. And all of a sudden your message, you sent them over the edge. You could be the cause of someone taking extreme measures. I personally don't think that I would be able to live with myself if I ever found that out. Some people might be able to say, oh well, I didn't mean it for them. But that's just it. We don't have to mean it for them to take offense, for them to take what you said in the wrong context. We need to be more cognizant of what we're doing and what we're saying and who we're saying it to. People on the other end of these messages may not be in the right frame of mind. Like I said, timing is everything. So as I said many, many times before, I don't have the answers. But I know this. I know that if we can start to turn the tide and start to use tact in our daily communications, think about what we're saying and try to be gentle, especially when we're using social media, we may, just may, find a way back to that polite society. Heck, what do I know? I don't have the answers. But let's talk about this next time. Thank you very much for your time. I apologize for tonight's show being late, but I'm recording this usually after what I would normally post it. So we're running a little bit late tonight. Had some real life matters that popped up. Thank you all, and please don't forget to like, share, tweet, talk about this. Give me some feedback. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me what you want to hear me talk about next time. Heck, if you want to be a guest on the show, let me know. I'll make it happen. Thanks again. Have a great night.